Dallas Lunsford is a forward thinking and proactive business strategy leader known for his diverse expertise in reporting, leadership, strategic analysis, and project management. Dallas is an effective and engaging communicator adept at adapting to changing needs while maintaining positive relationships with both internal and external customers. He has a proven track record of turning insights into actionable strategies through analytics, process improvement, and business partnering. He excels in working cross-functionally to develop and achieve attainable goals. James Rand is an ACE-certified personal trainer based in Los Angeles, California. As a specialist in functional movement and kettlebell training, James is dedicated to helping clients achieve their fitness goals through a balanced approach that enhances balance, power, flexibility, and strength. James' mission is to help people get stronger and go further, offering personalized training that empowers individuals to push their limits and improve their overall well-being. With a focus on functional movement and effective kettlebell techniques, James provides a comprehensive training experience designed to meet each client's unique needs. Maybe to start with Dallas, could you share like a little bit about like how you arrived at what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I spent 18 years in my 9 to 5 working in corporate, a Fortune 500 company. I've been blessed to, started my journey in North Carolina. I moved to Denmark. I've traveled the world with the job. I've led teams. I've solved a lot of problems. I've made the company a lot of money. I saved the company a lot of money, and in all that, still was missing that thing that was kind of like that soul calling, that all of this was doing what society told you was right to do, and all that kind of stuff, but it just kind of left me empty inside. And no matter how how many raises I got or what title I got, there was still just this feeling inside of me that something was missing, right? There was a void, there was more to life than what I was doing. Despite all that, right? Met a lot of great people. Like I said, traveled the world. I met my wife in my travels. Had my son was born in Denmark. We moved back to the US. And then when we were back in the US, a lot of chaos, as you said earlier, kind of happened. And we just came to this realization that we weren't getting out of life what we wanted. And especially me. And we took a bold decision to basically give it all up and move back to Denmark and really just kind of focus on what life was going to look like and what we wanted life to look like. And in that's when I kind of found my self-help journey or self-improvement journey, whatever you want to call it. That's when I found Danco, who, of course, like many, kind of introduced me to the whole X journey and the personal brand. And in that, in my struggles too, nutrition healed me, right? I was sick for a good 10 years of my life with my appendix ruptured. I had my gallbladder removed. I had chronic stomach pain, chronic headaches. I was just kind of a shell of myself. And it wasn't until I met with a nutritionist who worked with me on my diet and my nutrition and what I was putting in my body as to when I really started to heal. And that kind of was a spark for me really to kind of go on my own journey with it, to experiment, to research, to look into, all the different things. And then as I moved back to Denmark, I was vegan at the time. And then I started to reintroduce protein or meat back into my diet and just kind of see how that was making me feel, along with, really getting into the gym. So yeah, all that really just kind of blossomed into kind of where I'm at now, is really just leaning into the space of helping people overcome their physical and mental health and really get their lives back on track.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Dallas. With the appendix rupture, that sounds like it would be a medical emergency. Like, could you describe like what that's like and like how you got help?
I was living in Denmark at the time, but my wife and I had gone over to the States. So we were in the States it was about Christmas time. And I just started to feel like my stomach was hurting really bad. I was having like this really just dull pain, wasn't feeling well. And we went to the doctor, my hometown physician, like the guy I've known, he's known me and my whole family. He was out of town, so I saw his assistant. Long story short, she's like, "You've got a kidney stone. You just need to go home and pass it." Like, okay. Pain got worse, but I'm an avid sports fan, and we had bought tickets to a Duke basketball game. So me and my best friend and our wives were going to meet up in Durham and go see a game. So with this, I went and I suffered through the pain and went to the game. I came home that next morning and it was like the pain had just increased. So we went to get myself scanned and they're like, your appendix has been ruptured for 3 days. Like, you need to go to the emergency room right now. Like, it was kind of like a movie. Like, they basically just rushed me in straight to surgery. And they were like, you're very lucky you came when you did, because when your appendix ruptured, you're walking around essentially with poison in your body. So I could have been hours away from not being here on this podcast. But luckily, they got me in, they did the surgery, and I spent 3 or 4 days in the hospital recovering, a few more days at home. And then, luckily I was able to go back to Denmark and get on with things.
Where did you live in Denmark?
My job brought me over here the first time, and I was living in Copenhagen. Then after we decided to move back to the U.S., and then came back, now we're in a city about 30 kilometers north of Copenhagen.
Did your kind of collaboration with James come about? Like, you were focusing more on the nutrition side of things, and you said your mutual contact introduced you to, and you saw that you could like synthesize this offer that was greater than either one of you might have been able to do alone. Could you talk a little bit about like the thinking behind your collaboration?
Him and I were just chatting and, getting to know each other. And it was like, all right, on the one side, I was, I'd given James a few recipes, and I'd given him this one dessert that he had nicknamed the peanut butter crack. But right, fitness and nutrition go hand in hand, right? It is peanut butter and jelly. It is, right? It is, a great combination. So it's like, all right, if he's focused on the fitness side and I'm focused on the nutrition side, and we're both, vibing and picking up what each other's laying down, it just seemed like a no-brainer.
When you start to go down that rabbit hole of like diet and all the different, I guess, chemicals, ingredients, it seems pretty complex. Like the combinations, like the relationships, and then of the ingredients that you're eating, and then also the reaction with you. Perhaps, Dallas, this is your wheelhouse. How do you figure out the meal plans? Like, how do you figure out what's going to work for each person? Is there some trial and error, or are there some screening questions where you can kind of develop something with a high confidence that it's going to be the right fit for them?
Yeah, fantastic question. And I can only speak to, my own personal experience. I've done a lot of trial and error, right? I've always been a very curious person by nature, and that's led me down a lot of rabbit holes and a lot of experimentation, especially with all my gut issues, and trying to figure out what it was. Was it gluten? Was it dairy? Was it this? Was it that? And it is all personal. So like, there's no foolproof plan where I can get you dialed in without, working with you for a period of time where we can say, all right, like, spinach upsets my stomach, but kale makes me feel good, or vice versa. Like my wife, for example, she can't eat kale. It upsets her stomach, where for me, I absorb it. It makes me feel great, and it's a big staple of my diet. But for her, again, it's like, all right, because we've introduced that and she knows it upsets her stomach, then we got to stay away from it. So it is trial and error. There's some pre-screening questions, but really, where I would really love to take it, and part of like my whole vision, is to be able to do a blood test, right? To be able to have a blood test that could be sent to your home, that you can do it, that's going to scan, for the factors, tell you what you're deficient in or not deficient in. And that's really the way to make these things more personalized and really like kind of tuned in and dialed in. But that's a big vision and a big project that I have that I want to work on. But without doing something down to that level, then it is simply trial and error.
Is it possible, Dallas, to do these blood tests now, or is there something you're waiting for, like in the industry?
It's possible to be done, and I even did one called an epigenetic test, where they take a hair sample, and that's supposed to get even further down the rabbit hole of what your body can take in, and what minerals it needs or doesn't need, or has or doesn't have, that sort of thing. So where I want to take it is to be able to make it affordable enough where you can, let's say, sign into an app. You sign up, you get the test sent to you, you do it, it sends the results to me or AI or whatever. I'm able to process it, and then I'm able to really customize a meal plan for David based on, your blood work, based on your, your epigenetic test, that sort of thing. Like that's the level where you could get to a customization that's really going to go into like, all right, let's get David operating at his best. Let's get James operating at his best. But it's got to go down to that detail of level. Or again, it's trial and error, right? And what I sent you was a lot of what I eat myself based on questions that, that I ask you and you sit and that sort of thing. So again, there's basics, but to really get you to the point, like, James mentioned the story before, is we'd have to know what you're intolerant to. We'd have to, really go in and take things away and add things back and that sort of thing and see how you feel and monitor it. But if you add in the blood test and the hair sample, that really does a lot of that guesswork.
What is your goal? Like, I was going to ask you both, like with this collaboration, do you have like a company identity, like a website that you're building? Is it very like casual? Like if someone talks to Dallas and they also want physical fitness, you recommend James or vice versa. Could you talk about that at all?
Yeah, so I think it is like anything. It started with big ideas, and we were getting lost in the weeds, and like we were shooting ideas and brainstorming back together, and like so many things were coming out. But like I was like, all right, we got to make this a bit more practical. And about that time, that's when you and I started chatting. So yeah, here's a perfect opportunity, right? And since then, just some other opportunities have come up organically where we've been able to do something similar, like we've done with you. But yeah, the idea is to incorporate it into, a bigger website, to possibly create a community around it and really just start putting it out there more and more of this powerful combination that exists between the two of us, right? It gets mixed in, like you said, in that space of, oh, wow, if I want to be high performance, not only as an athlete or for my body, but also mentally, especially as an entrepreneur and a creator, you create with your mind. So you want to be sharp. So we want to be able to add that mental element into it as well. So that's part of kind of what we're ultimately building towards is, this space where we can talk about kind of all three, the physical, the diet, and the mental aspect of it.
I wanted to ask, I think James, when you're coming back on, are you each thinking of having this as like a package that you offer people, this combo of the diet and the exercise?
Yeah, I mean, we're thinking about a number of things. One may be a community, um, you know, membership, access to meal plans on different tiers. Another would be, standalone sort of packages that aren't as personalized, meal plans and workout plans that people could just purchase. But we really would like to get, hyper personalized with our training and meal plans for people to deliver the best results. And actually, I'm not a math major, but you said you did 60%, maybe gained 3 pounds. You know, three of the five. That sounds like 60%. I think that lines up right there. So
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, it's positive, full stop. But yeah, I'll definitely plan to continue, and I'd love to keep in touch and like Dallas, you said you have some more meal plans we might try, and James, perhaps there's other exercises as well. Although the ones you sent me were fairly comprehensive and matched exactly the. I don't know if Dallas told you the equipment I had, but it matched kind of everything I have and like it's just a natural extension to what I was already doing. So it fit really well within my life. So kudos there. It's a well designed product I think you have. And what are your goals moving forward? Like, do you have like I know this one marketing creator. He wants to help I think like 1 billion people in his lifetime. Obviously, it's going to have to do a one to many model, but like through courses and stuff. Do you have like some kind of goal? Like, I want to help 1,000 people like reach their GBP or whatever.
I don't have a goal of a certain number of people, but I would starting this remote training. I have a concept that I'm calling mind body, and Dallas and I are working sort of under that umbrella right now, and I think it's more consulting in terms of fitness and nutrition, and I would love to get that off the ground. And in terms of a community, online forums, a clothing line, just everything encompassing, a business with many different facets. That's my goal.
Okay. Interesting. How about you, Dallas?
I've never thought about it in the sense of number wise, right? I just think about it in terms of impact, right? I think it's if you could impact one, you've already made a difference, and from there, it's like where this can go, and that's really up to the universe. It's up to us. It's up to people getting on board, and it's up to what we can create. So I think that's right. It's just that mindset of, get the spark going and see how big the fire can go.
Right. Yeah, I like that. So if folks are interested in checking this out, where would you like to lead them? Should they be led to your like individual channels and you kind of collaborate behind the scenes? What would you recommend?
I'd say so. Yeah, our individual channels right now, definitely.
Okay. And I have your X handles. Is there anywhere else you'd like to point them?
Instagram, James TB Fit, same as the X.
And Dallas, how about you?
No, just for me, just X for now.
Okay, great. We'll put those in the show notes. Thank you both once again, through and through, both for the program, for what you're doing, and also the interesting conversation. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you'd like to mention?
I think not. I think we got it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both. We'll be in touch. Take care.
Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot, David.
Thanks, David.